investigations from the case files of Lieutenant Joe Kenda.
Oh my God.
First, a gruesome discovery sparks a police investigation like no other.
They don't have a body. So how did it get there? And why aren't the rest of the bones there?
Are we looking at a homicide or are we looking at a wild animal attack?
The one thing they could go on was a missing persons report.
So we have 1,000 questions and one answer. It's human and it's dead.
Then, a young man's murder has detectives searching for secrets.
Whenever we see that he has a gold ring on his finger, it puzzled us.
But is this a crime of passion or something more sinister?
When coworkers engage in a sport, it's called coworker watching. They pay attention.
Just that I don't want to live anymore.
This happened in less than 30 seconds. Kick in, boom, gone. It takes no time when you know what you're going to do. All people's misbehaviors are preventable. If everyone would think with a clear head, we wouldn't need the police. We would all live in utopia. The problem is, there never will be one. There's one thing that never changes. Murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
As the sun begins to set over Colorado Springs, Danielle Donlin is enjoying a quiet evening with her grandson Terry.
She was cooking dinner that evening, and she had one thing to do, and that was bring Shadow in, her dog.
Shadow! Shadow!
So she doesn't see him and calls him again.
Shadow! There he is.
And here comes Shadow. With something large in his mouth.
What's he got?
I don't know, Terry.
She wasn't quite sure what it was when he was first coming up.
I thought it might have been a bone, a piece of an animal. It was bloody, had mustache on it.
Oh my God, he's got a human skull in his mouth.
Come on, boy. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Across town, it's Lieutenant Joe Kenda's turn to do the family grocery shopping.
We both work. And the deal was, whoever was available at the grocery shop would do so when the cupboard was bare. I'm the world's fastest shopper. If I get with my list, I throw the cart and I move on.
It seems the rest of Kenda's list will have to wait.
And I walked out the door. Went back to work.
Kenda has been summoned to a neighborhood at the foot of the Rocky Mountains, southwest of town.
How you doing? Pretty good. So we got? So the woman who lives here, her dog comes home with a human skull.
In this case, I can't imagine something any more distressing than what this dog has discovered.
So we're setting up lights to do a search for the rest of the body?
It's not uncommon for people's pet dogs to find items they think interesting and they bring them home with them.
And the medical examiner's over here checking out the skull. Do you want to go see it?
Let's take a look. What do you think of that? Come take a look.
The eyes are no longer present. There are patches of brown hair on the skull.
For starters, it's obvious that another animal got a hold of this before the dog did. See the teeth marks here?
In Colorado, we have a lot of large scavenger-type animals, including, bear, mountain lion. So anytime you have remains left outside, the animals are going to find it.
Time of death is fairly recent. I would say in the last couple of weeks. weeks or so, female, young adult to mature.
Even with a few features on the skull, you can generally talk about whether it's male or female. You can tell age of the remains, meaning how old was the person when they died, by looking at the eruption of the teeth.
No obvious bullet wounds or trauma, but since we don't have the rest of the body, who knows?
Right.
Good luck with this one, Joe.
Thanks.
We have no body, and we certainly don't know who it is. So we have 1,000 questions and one answer. The answer is it's human and it's dead.
We need to call back to the station and start pulling missing persons reports. Any Caucasian female reported in the past 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
When remains are discovered, your first instinct is that this is a missing person. Not everyone that's missing is reported as missing, but this is
His records. Kenda tries to locate the rest of the remains.
When you're looking at a case like this, you want to talk to the owner of the dog, Shadow.
Thank you, bud. How you doing, man? A little Kenda. Do you have any idea where the dog might have got this skull?
No, he roams on his own. He never crosses a highway, I can tell you that, though.
the dog was on the west side of the road and somehow discovered this head and brought it to this house, and I have no idea where, how, or anything else.
All right, let's map this out.
You search in proximity to where the dog was last known to be, which is at the house with the head. You have no way to determine how far that dog would go, or in what direction.
We'll start searching the surrounding areas. And we'll radiate out into the wilderness.
You break it into squares, you assign people to squares. You try to make it organized, but in a rural area like this and mountainous terrain, that's very, very difficult to do.
It's going to be hard enough as it is. Let's not make it any harder than it has to be by trying to do this in the dark. So I'll be right back here first thing in the morning.
You don't want to encounter a black bear at night when you're out there searching around in the woods. It's safer to wait till first light so that you have plenty of light to go out there and do a proper search.
So daylight comes, and they come back, and they start the search, and they use a cadaver dog, who can, by scent, help find bones or a buried person.
Anything associated with a dead body, these dogs absolutely will find it. They'll go to it like a bee to honey.
Oh boy, they're trained to notify their handler when they have made a hit. Some dogs bark, some howl, some just sit.
I'm hopeful that these dogs are going to immediately find this. If they cannot, you have to consider how big of an area do we need to look at. El Paso County is the size of Rhode Island.
An hour into the search, the canine officer gets ahead.
Lieutenant!
Come on, let's go.
There is an odor that is indescribable.
What do we got?
We got something.
Well, my. So we have a house dog that's recovered a human skull. Search for the rest of this woman's remains. Using cadaver dogs for the search, we've had success.
Oh boy.
So we all walk up to where the dog and handler are.
So what do we got?
We got something. I don't think it's a full body, though.
We find a few human bones, a femur, a tibia, a shoulder blade. Some have flesh still attached. They have gnaw marks on the bones from animal teeth.
Those bite marks look like the work of a bear.
People think bears are berry pickers. They are. They won't hesitate to eat flesh. They have no difficulty tearing bodies limb from limb, removing heads from a fresh kill.
Make sure you collect all those and let me know what you find out. Yes.
The discovery of the bones prompts Kenda and his men to entertain another, more unusual possibility.
Was she a hiker that was just out for a hike one day? encountered a bear, and the bear attacked.
The likely suspect in this is a bear.
While the search for the rest of the body continues, Kenda focuses on identifying the victim.
Any luck with those missing persons reports?
They said that they do have a couple missing female reports that could possibly match.
Now here's what I need you to do. Contact their families, have them bring over the dental records ASAP. I'll swing by the station and take them to the coroner's office myself.
Well, we've got the skull with the teeth. One of the best ways to do an identification on an unknown person is through dental records.
No, not this one. The second and third molars are totally different.
An x-ray of a known person's dental records overlay like a map. You put one over the other, and if something's out of place, it's not them.
No, not this one either. The jawline structure is completely different.
People's dentistry changes over time, but much of what your teeth look like and the fillings that you've had in the past are going to still be there. When you compare those teeth, what you have on the skull is as good as a fingerprint. It looks identical.
Then when he gets a third person up there, he begins to look at those, and then he really gets interested.
What do you got, Doc?
Hold on.
And he starts seeing which teeth they are and the depth and breadth of the work.
The molars match up perfectly. Well, that's her.
You're positive?
Absolutely.
All right, let's see what we got. Diane Pelkey.
So now we know that this mysterious head is that of none other than Diane Pelkey, age 36. She was reported as a missing person by her husband, Michael Pelkey, 1 week before the head was discovered by the dog. So she'd only been dead for 7 or 8 days.
Inside Diane Pelkey's file, Kenda finds a newspaper ad placed by her husband.
Michael Pelkey took out a full-page ad in the paper with pictures of his wife pleading for help in locating her, announcing he loves her desperately and he's very worried someone has taken her and done her harm.
Michael Pelkey was a 16-year veteran of the United States Army, still active duty, and lived off Fort Carson with his wife.
Kenda must now inform Michael Pelkey of his wife's death.
Miss Pelkey? Lieutenant Kenda. Pepsi.
What I tell him is we have found human remains, leave it vague as that, and say that positive identification has been made of her through dental records.
No, this can't be real. He was overcome when they let him know that it was Diane. They had been together for 15 years, and they had a 5-year-old son, and then they also learned she was 4 months pregnant.
Can you tell me the last time you saw your wife?
The night that she went missing, we went out to dinner.
We started to bicker over stupid married stuff. We've been at each other a little bit for the past few months.
It's not a big deal.
You know,
I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
I've had it with the arguing and the fighting all the time.
He said she walked away from him and walked off into the night. She was really angry, and he thought, well, she'll get over it, then she'll come home.
Based on Michael Pelkey's statement, the restaurant where he last saw his wife is located in downtown Colorado Springs, which means she likely would have had to travel more than 10 miles on foot in order to come face-to-face with a wild bear.
This is not a situation where Mrs. Pelkey is walking in the woods and attacked by a bear. She is killed by something far worse than a bear. She's killed by a human. Now the question is, which human?
Was she hitchhiking, trying to get a ride back home?
Did they get a ride?
And somebody picked her up and ended up killing her?
After speaking with Michael Pelkey, Kenda heads back to
We're going to look for her for a few minutes. He says he has to go home and take care of his 5-year-old son. It could be true. I just don't like it.
More red flags are raised when Kenda takes a closer look at the original missing persons report filed by Michael Pelkey.
I'm reading through it, and on the bottom of the page,
JDLR.
the officer puts in quotes JDLR, and that really struck me. Policemen have a code for lots of different things, but one of the things they have a code for is JDLR, which means just doesn't look right.
Yeah, you don't write that on a missing person's report for no reason. You write that down there so that somebody's looking at that later and says, oh, he was suspicious about this.
Something about Pelkey bothered this cop.
Yes, it's Officer Donaldson.
Now, what exactly do you mean, officer, by JDLR? We're investigating the death of Diane Pelkey. Her husband, Sergeant Michael Pelkey, has reported his wife missing. And now, looking at the report, and what do I find? The police code JDLR. JDLR is officer shorthand for just doesn't look right. That's not good.
After reading the report, Kenda tracks down the officer who originally wrote it.
Hey, Donaldson.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you remember taking a missing person report from the Army guy that came in here about a week and a half ago?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I saw your note.
He said he was suspicious because very little information was forthcoming from Micah when he made this report.
Nothing about a child, nothing about her being pregnant, nothing about ever arguing with her. All of a sudden, she's just gone. She's just not anywhere to be found.
Crazy thing was, after giving the basics, he was straight out the door. Didn't even wait.
It's been my experience when people really believe something awful has happened to a loved one. They're standing on my desk at 8 o'clock in the morning demanding to know why I slept last night and I wasn't out looking for their loved one.
That's why I put the note on the bottom of the report. In case something came up, somebody would know.
I said, well, something's come up. Dead Diane Pelkey has come up.
Kenda runs Michael's name in the police database.
We discover all these damning things. There's a history of domestic violence. There's been restraining orders in the past. They have filed for divorce. He never told us any of those things in our contact with him at Fort Carson.
Kenda increasingly believes Michael Pelkey may have murdered him.
In my opinion, this is not a city case.
Because of the fact that Diane's remains were found in El Paso County, the sheriff's office was involved in this investigation.
The case may be outside Kenda's jurisdiction, but that doesn't stop him from pressing the sheriff's office to put the squeeze on Michael Pelkey.
Yeah, I've got a guy that I really like for it. We think the husband definitely has something to do with it.
They listened to us very carefully, and they said, yeah, we'll take it. So they do. And they bring Pelkey into the sheriff's department, and we're out.
At the sheriff's office, deputies hammer away at Michael Pelkey.
They present his history with her. They present all the reasons why they suspect he's responsible for her death.
There's a lot here that just does not make sense to me. Maybe you can help me out.
Sergeant Pelkey is overwhelmed by guilt, overwhelmed by the presentation of one fact after another that points directly at him and at no one else. And he's going to break. And that's precisely what he did.
I didn't mean to do it. You have to believe me. Just tell me what happened. We were in the car together, driving to Manitou Lake where I wanted to do some fishing. And on the way there, we started arguing. Why don't you just admit you slept with that guy?
You've got a lot of nerve considering what you've been up to.
He felt that she had been unfaithful to him. She felt that he had been unfaithful to her, and it just escalated.
I moved on from that.
So you're trying to say it never happened?
What is your problem, Diane?
My problem is you. I have had it with you. Stop right here. I'm getting lost. I'm tired. I don't want to listen to you anymore.
At some point, Diane just wanted to get some space between them, and that doesn't sit well.
Stop the car!
What is your problem? Hey! Get back here, Diane!
Michael tells investigator he snaps.
He admits to the sheriff's detectives he strangles her in the car.
You have to understand. It was an accident.
Using your hands to kill someone is a long and agonizing process. It takes as long as 2 minutes to die. There is no accident.
This was the mother of his child. the mother of his soon-to-be second child, and you're watching them die. This is brutal. How one human being can do that to another human being they profess to have loved.
And now,
Michael tells detectives that after strangling Diane, he panicked and decided the best move would be to drive to a remote location in the Rocky Mountain foothills and dispose of her body.
He decides, I'm going to seatbelt her in so no one will be suspicious that she's dead, that she's merely a passenger in my car. It just is unimaginable.
he drives to a ravine near the highway.
He left her in an area where he couldn't imagine anyone would ever find her, a very wooded area.
His plan is he's going to report her missing to the police. Then he's going to take out an ad in the paper. Then he's going to do all these things to defray suspicion from him.
I can well imagine that he thought maybe he was going to get away with murder.
Well, you're wrong there, Michael. His plan unravels around him, and they arrest him for murder.
Shortly after that, our district attorney agreed to allow Fort Carson to court-martial him. And Michael Pelkey was convicted of second-degree murder and is currently serving a life sentence at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, the military penitentiary there.
You are held to a higher standard by the United States military. You will not behave in this way, and if you do, you will be one sorry son of a bitch. Sergeant Pelkey found that out the hard way.
So now we have a little boy who has a father in Leavenworth who will never get out again, and a mother who will never return home, and a sibling that he will never have. And what's left is a lot of sadness. It could have all been avoided.
What happens to him? All because that a father believing that death was the answer to a problem in life.
Coming up, a quiet young man
Oh, God.
is gunned down in his own bedroom.
I'm here to kill, and this lock is in my way. So now it becomes bum diddy bum diddy bum. Let's shoot this door apart.
Hey, Judy, are you excited about watching the Olympics?
I am excited. I like the swimming. It's the normal overnight shift after the 911 call.
911, what is your emergency? Hello, this is 911. What is your emergency?
Can you please send someone here quickly? A burglar just broke into my apartment.
She knows that somebody's voice is heightened and that somebody's in distress.
Okay, I have your location as East Bijou, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Oh, God!
And then she hears this noise, like a bang, and the line goes dead.
Hello, sir. Are you there? Is anyone there?
It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I had responded to a complaint of a burglary in progress with shots being fired.
It's a good case. Hey, JD, anybody hurt?
Yeah, we got one dead, a male Vic in the back bedroom, Danny Richmond, 24.
Was anyone else home at the time?
His roommate was a 50-year-old woman, Savannah Neal.
The responding officer tells me that this apartment is rented by one Savannah Neal, a 50-year-old who Danny Richmond had met at their place of mutual employment.
The age difference between Savannah and Danny strikes Kenda as odd.
You have a 50-year-old female involved with a 24-year-old male. People tend to room with people of their own approximate age. Just on the surface, it would certainly seem as if this is some sort of temporary living circumstance.
Where's your roommate now?
Medical took her. She was pretty taken up, but she wasn't injured in the attack.
Based on the preliminary report given by emergency dispatch, police believe Danny was the 911 caller.
He was reporting someone breaking into the apartment, and he didn't know who it was.
Burglars, by definition, are sneak thieves. He is a frightened kind of criminal. So it is possible that this person breaks into this apartment and then discovers someone is there, i.e. the victim.
Oh, God.
And responds with gunfire, killing him.
But before Kenda can even enter the apartment, a clue is already waiting for him at the front door.
Burglars, because they're thieves, they try to pick locks or they try to force a door open. Here, multiple shots have been fired at this door. That is not the act of a burglar. This guy doesn't even care who hears him. That is the act of a violent person with a motive against somebody inside that door.
The nature of Danny Richmond's fatal injuries provides further evidence of how and where the shooting took place.
He is shot in the central chest. Now, the interesting thing about his body is there is no stippling, tattooing, burn marks from muzzle flash, none of that, which means the shot is fired from in excess of 48 inches away.
Did we find any casings? Nah, it's probably a revolver.
It appears that Danny was eating. There was a plate of food on the nightstand. That tells us that he was relaxed at one point inside that bedroom just before he was shot.
He's married. I guess I can explain why he's crashing here.
Maybe he's married and he's not getting along. And because he's having these issues, a co-worker who is Savannah Neal allows him to stay in her apartment.
Could Danny's estranged wife be responsible for his death? It's a possibility Kenda's more than willing to consider.
So they had a mystery on their hand. Who is Danny's wife and where is she?
Now, the interesting thing about it is, why is Savannah not dead? Why does she not have any evidence of being pistol whipped or any evidence of anything? It's clear the shooter is only after one person, and it's not her. It's Danny Richmond.
While Kenda assesses the scene in the bedroom, investigators canvass the perimeter for any sign of the killer.
Right, let's try,
Lieutenant, they need you outside.
When we go out the back door of the apartment complex,
what have we got?
Looks like a 357.
we find shell casings at the threshold of that door.
The odds are this is a revolver, and the odds are further the killer was dumping expanded casings and replacing them with live rounds.
Go ahead and bag those up for evidence for us.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Now, reloading a gun sometimes is habit for military. I'm going to pay attention to anybody that might be military involved in this. It's possible because there's so many military people in Colorado Springs.
But with little concrete information about the shooter, Kenda turns his attention to the victim, Danny Richmond.
They decide to go to Danny's job and try to talk to a coworker for information if he's had any problems with anyone at work or a friend.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I help you?
I'm Lieutenant Kenda from the Colorado Springs Police Department.
We explained to her that we are looking into the shooting death of Danny Richmond, and she almost collapses because she knows Danny Richmond.
Can you tell us a little bit about Danny? Kind of a person he is?
Yeah, he was great.
Danny was extremely polite. He loved his job. He had a reputation for helping people. He was involved in the community and had thoughts of opening his own nursing home so he could help people in his own way.
Savannah Neal and this young man became friends at work. Savannah was 30 plus years older than Danny and sort of acted as his mentor.
Do you know how long he'd been staying with Savannah? Had he recently been kicked out of his house by his wife?
And she seems confused. Well, no, he's not really married.
What about the wedding ring?
He wore that to show his commitment to Savannah.
Well, no.
They were sleeping together.
Knowing that they are now romantically and physically involved with each other and the wide disparity in their ages makes it obvious to me that this probably isn't Savannah's first rodeo. Who else is in her life that isn't happy about her new arrangement? We're investigating the death of 24-year-old Danny Richmond. And now we determine through a coworker, he's involved with another coworker who's quite a bit older than he is. Now that opens a whole new dimension. Is there a third player in this little happy duo?
Can you tell me more about Danny's relationship with Savannah?
For Danny, the relationship with Savannah was so serious that he had every intent of marrying her after her divorce was final.
His name was James Neal. They've been married for like 25 years. They were having problems, so she moved out and got herself an apartment.
Kenda thinks back to the pile of casings at the crime scene and follows up on a previous thought.
Do you have any idea if James was in the military?
I think he was in the Army. Now he just works as a security guard somewhere down the road.
Well, he fits rather nicely. A military ex-husband, and they're having problems. Maybe it isn't like to let go. Maybe he sees Danny as a reason why he cannot let go.
James Neal has shot to the top of Kenda's suspect list, but before he questions James, Kenda hopes to gather additional information from his wife Savannah, who's being held at a nearby hospital for observation.
Distressed, but she's not hyperventilating.
I've been talking to some of your coworkers, and they were telling me that you were having some problems with your husband.
Yes. It's been bad for a while. We weren't getting along, and so I moved out. But then when James found out about my relationship with Danny, things started to get really scary.
She explains that he had an extremely jealous reaction. He began stalking Danny, stalking her, making threats.
Savannah told us he would follow her all over the city. She would see him in parking lots when she'd go grocery shopping. She would see him when she'd arrive at work. It got to the point where everywhere she went, she looked to see if James was following her.
Kenda asks Savannah to describe the events leading up to Danny Richmond's death.
She said, well, it was 12:30 or so. Danny goes to school at night because he works during the day. He doesn't come home until quite late.
It's great.
I fixed him something to eat, and we sat on the bed while he ate something from his plate, and we just talked.
And then all of a sudden, I heard this, loud pounding sound at the front door.
Open the door, I know he's in there.
I'm gonna call the police.
Open the door.
The door explodes. And in comes James Neal. He is alone. In his hand is a 6-shot revolver. He walks right past her. He walks to the bedroom door.
I didn't know what to do. I just heard James yelling.
Just couldn't leave her alone. She's my wife, not yours.
And she hears a shot in that bedroom. He then walks out of the apartment, saying nothing to her. This happened in less than 30 seconds, start to finish.
Oh, God.
You just couldn't leave her alone, could you? She's my wife, not yours.
I'm very sorry.
She's getting all distressed again because now she's reliving the moment. So I thought, okay, well, this will wait for some time. We have the basic facts. James Neal is the shooter. Now we just need to find him.
Could you tell me what James drives?
It's a gray Camry.
Savannah provides me I explained this possibly contains James Neal. He is wanted for murder, should be considered armed and dangerous.
Minutes later, Officer Jerry Owens, out on routine patrol, spots a gray Camry with plates matching Suvana's description.
31, be advised, I've got that murder suspect. He's going to be eastbound on Bernard.
I noticed it coming around the corner toward me at a high rate of speed.
Southbound, Bernard.
I'm thinking, well, we're going to have a chase.
Circle back around to address. He's stopping up. Over Bernard.
Then all of a sudden, he just pulled over. I'm thinking, well, maybe this isn't the guy, because he's just pulling over normally.
Driver, turn the car off, throw the keys out, and let me see your hand.
He gave commands and he didn't move. So he approached it.
I'm sort of weighing all my options. What if he does this? What if he does that? Before I get to the car. When I went up to the driver and noticed the individual had blood on his left shoulder. That made me curious. Looked a little bit closer. I saw blood on his stomach area.
It's now clear to Officer Owens that James Neal has just shot himself.
Mr. Neal is sitting behind the driver's wheel with his head in his chest. He is alive. He's got blood all over him. Next to him on the passenger seat is a .357 Magnum revolver.
Touch that gun. I'm going to shoot you where you sit.
I don't want your help. I want to die.
31. I need an EMS and first responder ASAP. I got one with multiple gunshot wounds.
He was speaking very coherently to me at the time, and I asked him, when did you shoot yourself? And he stated as I was pulling him over. I did not see any muzzle flash from the gun at that time. He must have had it pressed close.
The next obvious question is, why'd you shoot yourself in the shoulder and the stomach? That's a pretty awkward place to shoot yourself if you want to die.
In my opinion, James Neal's intent was to kill himself, but he lost his courage. And that's why he shot himself in the stomach and the shoulder.
Oh. So I get there just as they're putting him on a gurney.
Please let me die.
I shot my wife's boyfriend.
Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Investigation is now...
Tension, and he survives.
At trial, James Neal is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 45 years in prison. But the void left by the young man whose life he took can never be filled.
The tragedy that is left in the wake of this is immeasurable.
Danny is young. He is in love with this woman, irrespective of their difference in age. They say love is a many-splendored thing. It is, but it can include hate. Things of relationship can turn to nightmare scenarios very quickly. This is one of those.
When a college-bound star is gunned down, his love life provides the only clues.
He was big, athletic, he was attractive, he was funny.
He likes the ladies. That really piques my interest.
Yeah, me too.
The old saying applies. Hell hath no fury.
What are you talking about?
But as he digs in, Lieutenant Joe Kenda must separate fact from fiction.
We have a case of a whodunit at this point.
The press is printing the usual headline. Police are baffled. So the pressure is on.
Now is the time to come to Jesus and tell us exactly what's going on.
What the hell happened here? Because something did. It never gets any easier to talk to grieving mothers. I would always feel compassion for them. I'm cold sometimes, but not with women that have lost a child. Not supposed to be. Your children are supposed to bury you, not the other way around. There's one thing that never changes. Murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
Mike Capel is walking home from his restaurant job.
It was my normal walk home. Pretty much just minding my own business when I heard people yelling.
He sees a car go by, he's kind of swerving. He doesn't know what to make of it.
And so I just kept on walking. Then I heard people screaming.
They're trying to revive what appears to be the body.
Don't die, man.
I remember seeing him lying there on the side of the street in the grass.
Hey, call 911! Call 911, man! Call 911! Call the cops, he bleeding.
They're hysterical.
We don't know what happened, man.
Call the cops! He bleeding! He bleeding!
I was like, what am I get myself into?
Sheridan! Say something, man! Don't die, Sheriff! Don't die, man!
Not far away, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is making a pit stop before heading home from a long shift.
It's 2:05. I smoked then. That was not acceptable. So I stopped at the neighborhood convenience store to buy a pack of cigarettes.
Hey, James.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Good. Current cigarettes, please.
Same as usual.
You know me.
I buy my cigarettes,
Hey, be safe out there.
Thanks. Every night.
All right.
and I'm walking out the door. And my pager goes off.
Go for Kenda.
You're requested at 3600 Betty Drive. Reports of a possible shooting and casualty.
10-4 a month. Kenda out.
I thought, I now have cigarettes, so this will be all right.
How you doing, Lieutenant?
Hey, Brian. So what do we got?
You got a 19-year-old male.
When I get there, Detective Ritz tells me that there's a 19-year-old male, and he is dead from a gunshot wound to the chest.
The victim was Sheridan Pittman, recent graduate of Doherty High School, getting ready to go off to a junior college in Arizona. Outstanding athlete. And very, very well liked. Everybody said he was really funny, really engaging.
Died on his way to the hospital. Any witnesses? There were two guys when we got here, Nick and Andre Collins, they're brothers, friends of the victim, and they say that they found him here.
Okay, Chief, I want you to come first. Where'd they find the body?
Found the body right up here, and about 80 yards that way are a ton of spent casings.
The shell casings at the scene turned out to belong to two different types of weapons. One was a 9mm and one was a .40 caliber. So that was a good indication to investigators that we had at least two shooters at the scene.
And they were just firing wildly. I mean, we got damage all over here.
There was bullet holes in cars and fences. And the fact that there are a lot of shell casings could indicate that they used called spray and pray pattern. Just shoot as hard and as fast as you can and hope you kill somebody.
Like this, in the dark at 80 yards, if you were Annie Oakley, you couldn't make that shot directly. We have 19 bullets that go down this street at 1,200 feet per second, like a nest of angry bees. And only one strikes Sheridan Pittman. As it turns out, one was
next to the body.
We open the cylinder, it has 6 rounds in it.
It's fully loaded.
And all 6 are live ammunition. So this weapon was not fired.
Someone's firing at you, you pull out your gun, you don't fire? Why not?
Now let's get a GSR test on the victim at the hospital. And also on the two guys that found the body. Maybe another gun was fired.
A GSR gunshot residue test will tell us whether or not somebody has been firing a weapon.
Let me know if there's off all three when you get them.
Will do.
What's up?
The victim's friend's car and I found something interesting.
Let's take a look.
We look in the Collins brothers' car, and on the floorboard of the car, on the passenger side, is a single expended .22 long rifle casing.
Just the one?
Just the one.
Well, it's the same caliber and brand as the rounds found on the weapon by the body.
We don't know what it's doing there. Did it play a role in this, or was it some prior event?
Could you do me a favor and call back to the station and run these guys' names? Something doesn't feel right.
Yes, sir.
Even though they stayed and were obviously concerned about the victim, could the friends have been involved in the altercation? Could it have been started because of something they had done?
I'm going to talk to the brothers.
First one we speak to is Andre Collins. He is the same age as the victim. He just graduated from Doherty High School.
This doesn't make sense. Sheridan had big plans. He was going to play pro football.
He is distressed about the death of his friend, but other than that, he's very cooperative and extremely polite.
I just can't believe this happened.
So what did happen here, Andre?
I don't know. I wasn't here. Nick called me. He called me to pick him up to go look for Sheridan.
He said, I got a frantic phone call from my brother saying that some guys shot at them.
Andre, you gotta come down, man.
And now he can't find Sheridan.
I don't know what happened to Sheridan. I lost him.
Now that statement alone says that Nick is there. Why wasn't Nick forthcoming with that information when the officers arrived? He didn't mention anything about being shot at by anybody. That bothers me.
Excuse me, can I borrow you for a second? So we did a records check. Both the brothers and the victim. Nobody has a criminal record. Okay. We also got the gunshot residue result tests back on all three. They're all clean. All right, let's get the brother Nick back to the station. I think he's got to know something since he was with the victim about the time he got
Kenda is about to leave the crime scene.
Sorry, Lieutenant.
What's up?
I thought you'd want to know. We may have found the witness.
Oh, yeah, what'd they say?
Well, they didn't see much because it was dark. But they lived nearby, so they were outside when they heard the gunfire.
He said, as soon as the gunfire ended, the witness distinctly heard a woman's voice say,
That'll teach him.
that will teach them.
Interesting. You know what's more interesting? Patrol just picked up a woman lurking around the outside of the crime scene. Where is she? She's over in a cruiser. I'll talk to her.
So now we have a new person, and it's a female. We know we have two shooters. What if one of them's a girl? And what if that girl is sitting in the back of that police car? I don't know. But I like that possibility. We're investigating the shooting death of Sheridan Pittman, a gifted athlete with no criminal history, found shot to death in a street. We have a witness saying a woman's voice is heard saying that'll teach them, and now we have a woman in our possession who's been lurking around this crime scene. She's identified to me as Nina Darren. She might be part of this.
Kenda is informed that Nina's aware of Sheridan's death.
Nina, I'm Lieutenant Kenda.
Great. Do you mind telling me why the hell you people are keeping me here?
She's uncooperative and angry.
I think this is a load of crap. I ain't got time for this.
Well, Nina, you better make a little time.
People believe if I yell at these guys, they'll let me go. Wrong. Nobody's gonna let you go. You're considered to be a material witness in a homicide investigation, young lady.
What are you doing out here in the middle of the night?
I was coming to meet my boyfriend, Sheridan.
Kenda is taken aback by Nina's matter-of-fact demeanor.
Grief has many faces, many expressions, but that struck me as somewhat odd.
Kenda wonders if Nina could be involved in Sheridan's murder.
Well, did you always like Sheridan? Maybe you didn't like him tonight. She announces that he was supposed to see her that night. He didn't show up. She was annoyed by that. And there is a rumor that Sheridan had been shot on Betty Drive, and she came over there to see for herself.
How's your relationship with Sheridan been lately?
We're fine.
No issues?
No issues.
Well, that's all well and good, but you gotta understand that I'm very thorough. So you need to tell me where you were when the shooting happened.
I was babysitting my sister's kid. I'll give you the number if you don't believe me. You can talk to my family.
You get that?
So we do that, and it does check out. She was where she said she was. She is not the female voice that was heard.
Go ahead and make sure she gets home.
Yes, sir. With Nina Darren cleared, Kenda turns his attention to the young man who was with Sheridan at the time of the shooting.
That's what I was going to talk to.
Nick Collins is back at headquarters, waiting to be interviewed. To our knowledge, he is the only eyewitness to this event. He has to know something of value about how and why this got started and ended in the way that it did.
Seated in the bullpen, it's clear to Kenda Nick Collins is still in shock over his friend's death.
Real sorry about this, Nick, but we have to ask you a few questions. What happened with you and your buddy Sheridan?
Alright. So, we were walking. Him and I want to see his girl, Nina. She lives out there.
Oh, man, what's up with Nina, bro, man?
She's trying to marry me.
What?
Nick reports that the car drives by and then drives some distance down from them, and the car stops, and they hear two doors open and close. It's very dark, and so he has no idea how many people are in this car.
And then all of a sudden, they start shooting at us.
You run!
I took off running. I'm out of there. And I thought Sheridan was right behind me. Guess he wasn't.
And he runs until he gets to a payphone.
We gotta go now. I'm at the mini mart.
And he calls his brother. Maybe together they could find Sheridan.
Why were these guys shooting at you?
I don't know, man.
Come on, these guys just randomly pull up and just start shooting at you for no reason?
The odds are that Nick is holding back. There has to be more to this that you're not telling us.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I don't know why they started shooting. Promise.
Take it easy. Is there anything you can tell me to help find these guys?
I saw the car when it drove by. I don't know what kind it was. I think it was a sedan.
He said it was a light-colored car, but it had the right rear taillight burned out.
This is helpful to us. It gives us at least something to be looking for. So we're airing the information out to all units, working the streets to see if we can get a hit.
Okay, Nick, I'm gonna have somebody drive you home. But if you think of anything else, make sure you let us know.
I get it.
Nick's not going anyplace. We can always come back to him later, and we most likely will. But for now, thank you for your cooperation.
After wrapping up with Nick Collins, Kenda and Detective Reds wrote.
You ready for this?
I can't imagine that for the police that's ever a pleasant job. And in this particular situation, it's just so mind-bending.
Mrs. Williams? Do you mind if we come in for a minute?
Of course.
Deborah Pittman Williams was a lovely, statuesque, professional woman. She tried to make the best decisions she could, ironically, including moving to Colorado Springs because she was worried about violence. Now, all she could do was deal with what life had handed her, which was changing from packing his college clothes to picking out his casket.
I've been hearing rumors about Sheridan. Please tell me they're not true.
Ma'am, I'm afraid they are. He was shot and killed last night. I'm very sorry for your loss.
But he's supposed to go away to college in 2 weeks. We just bought him clothes.
I'm sure you're very proud of him. We were just recently talking to his girlfriend, Nina.
Who?
His girlfriend, Nina.
She looked at us and said, I don't know, Nina. He was dating some other girl.
I think his girlfriend's
doesn't know about. But his little brother might.
Cedric, why don't we give your mother some time? Let's go talk in the kitchen.
That stuff happens with teenage boys. They're gonna talk all kinds of trash about their dating lives to their little brothers.
Cedric, can you tell me about your brother's girlfriend?
Cedric goes on to explain that Sheridan had a lot of girlfriends. Not a few, a lot. He was dating two at that moment that he was aware of. Nina and another girl named Sally Miller.
Sheridan! Hey, Sheridan! Man, it's another one of your girls calling.
You can't say one of my girls trying to get me caught.
Watch and learn. Watch and learn. Hey, baby. Don't remind my little brother. What you do?
There.
Those emotions really drive people to crimes of passion, and a lot of times very quickly.
He told them both that he loved them. He also told them that they were his only girl.
That really piques my interest.
Girl, you crazy. Yeah, I miss you too.
Now, what if Sally Miller finds out about Nina? And what if Sally Miller is that voice that says that'll teach him a lesson? Maybe the lesson she wants to teach is don't cheat on me. So we're investigating Sheridan Pittman's untimely death. We learn he has more than one girlfriend at the same time, and it's common for him to do that. Now, that is a recipe for disaster.
With jealousy looking increasingly like a possible motive, Kenda pays a visit to Sheridan's 17-year-old girlfriend, Sally Miller.
Thank you for allowing me to talk to your daughter, Miss Miller.
Because she's under the age of 18, we need her parents present during these interviews.
Sally, do you know anything about what happened to Sheridan?
Well, I mean, I know he died, but that's about it, though.
I thought that was an unusual remark. You would think she would have called everyone she's ever known in her life to talk about this.
Suspicious of Sally's seemingly casual reaction, Kenda decides to cut to the chase.
So how do you feel about Nina Darren, Sheridan's other girlfriend?
I wanted to see what kind of reaction I would get from her in her face and in her eyes.
What? What are you talking about? No, I was his girlfriend.
It was the typical teenage response. She was always ready to cry, like, how could that be true? When he obviously dates the loveliest, smartest, best-looking female on the planet, which is me.
So you didn't know about him?
Nina, who's she? What's he talking about? I don't know.
She really was shocked. And that's what I wanted to see. The jealousy motivation just blew up in smoke. And it's abundantly clear to us that Sally Miller's not involved in this.
Thank you for your time. I'm sorry about your boyfriend. You hear anything else, give me a call.
And that was the end of it. So now, with this young lady Miller out the door, we're back to Zip.
Kenda heads back to the station to regroup with Detective Ritz.
This whole investigation has been focused on one witness who insists that the woman's voice was heard, saying that will teach them. And we've pursued that, and it's led us absolutely nowhere. This witness, in my opinion, is dead wrong. Not intentionally, but we've exhausted that, and it's time to move on.
We need to attack this from a different angle.
Will do. At this juncture of this investigation, the frustration level is off the charts. The only thing we have is a dead kid and a car with a right rear taillight burned out.
Later that day, Kenda's new approach delivers a promising new lead.
So I'm going through the incident reports from the night Pittman gets shot.
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours before he dies, he's involved in a completely separate shooting.
Tell me more, please.
All right, so according to this, Antoine Mays goes to the hospital, gets treated for a gunshot wound. Mr. Mays is brought in by Nick Collins, Andre Collins, and Sheridan Pittman.
Interesting.
We've spent a lot of time with Nick and Andre Collins, and no one apparently thinks it's important to tell us about this shooting incident that involved Mr. Pittman. What's going on here?
Sounds like we need to have a little chat with Antoine Mays.
So, we have some officers go out and pick him up and bring him into us.
This is
Antoine Mays?
Take a seat, Mr. Mays. Looks like you have a little bit of a limp there.
Yeah, well, the other.
So I'm not going to beat around the bush. I know you got shot. You tell me the truth, and we're done here. Was it Sheridan Pittman? Or his buddies, Nick and Andre? Then you shot them back for revenge?
Nah, it was nothing like that.
So you sit there thinking about this, and you see the wheels turning.
I mean, as stupid as it sounds, I shot myself.
Tell me about it.
Well, we were all chilling over at this friend's house. It was me, Sheridan, and the Collins brothers. And this friend had a gun.
What's up with the game? You done? I told you, man. The king right here in his face.
You talking to me?
He's practicing slamming it into the waistband of his pants.
Talking to me?
Brilliant.
You talking to me? I'm not on, huh?
No, man. Dude.
Happily, he only shot himself in the leg. Happily, he didn't hit anyone else.
You gotta cover that up, man.
Sheridan Pittman says, "Give me that gun. Give it to me. Before you kill yourself with it." And Pittman stuffs it in his pocket of his pants. Then they take him to St. Francis Hospital, and he's treated for a through-and-through gunshot wound.
With Antoine May's statement, Kenda finally has an explanation for the gun found near Sheridan's body.
Sheridan Pittman had it in his waistband at the time they...
Kenda wonders if Antoine might also help shed light on another piece of evidence collected at the scene.
At the beginning stages of this case, we found a casing on the floorboard of Collins's car, and we wondered where that came from.
Yeah, give me the casing!
Mays tells Pittman he wants that expended casing, because he wants it as a souvenir.
That's all you can think about is a casing, man. You just got shot.
And they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. But they open up the gun and
they put a fresh bullet in the chamber, and Pittman puts the gun back in his pocket.
Do you have that casing now?
Antoine explains that somewhere between shooting himself in the leg and the Collins brothers dropping him off at the hospital, he misplaced his souvenir casing.
No, he didn't lose it. He dropped it on the floor of the car, and we found it.
What I don't understand, Antoine, is why didn't you just tell us you shot yourself?
I mean, to be completely honest, we were scared. I mean, we didn't want to have any problems with you guys.
Being caught with a gun, whether it's illegal or not, is something that people may not want to admit to law enforcement. They may have been protecting themselves. They may have thought they were protecting somebody else.
All right, you're free to go.
We've explained a number of things discovered at the crime scene, but one thing that isn't yet explained or found is the sedan with a burned-out right rear taillight.
But Kenda knows that finding a nondescript sedan in a city of nearly 500,000 people is like searching for a needle in a haystack.
We're getting pressure from the Pittman family. The press is printing the usual headline, "Police are baffled," so the pressure is on. And we're not getting anywhere fast.
Thankfully, within hours of speaking with Antoine Mays, another possible lead rolls in.
We received a tip from a party by the name of Joanne Valdez.
Well, thank you for coming in, Mrs. Valdez. You have some information for me?
Yes, I do.
We get this piece of information that could be the golden ticket.
Joanne advises that her daughter's boyfriend has made statements that he knows who did the shooting.
Well, my. Now that is important. So, at this point in this investigation, the death of Sheridan Pittman has reached all these dead ends. But we finally have something that has some meat to it. We have a concerned mother. She says she has information that comes through her daughter's boyfriend. Mrs. Valdez explains that on the day after the murder, she needs a ride to a doctor.
He's driving, and we're listening to the radio. And we hear about this horrible murder of this young boy.
My homeboy shot that boy.
What?
My homeboy shot that guy.
I didn't know if he was being serious or not, so I didn't want to take any chances.
The fact that we now have somebody who says they know who did the shooting is very interesting to us.
Checking police records, Kenda discovers that the young man in question, Jack Juarez, has an extensive criminal history.
And he is wanted on several active arrest warrants. Perfect.
We have an address for him. When I get there, I found out that he had just recently left the property. I've started checking the area, and I find somebody who matches the physical description of the photo that I have.
Excuse me. Hey, aren't you Jack Juarez?
Nah, man. My name is Salam Jaramillo.
I can swear you look a lot like
I got an ID to prove it.
He provides me a driver's license in the name of Adam Jaramillo.
The ID is obviously fake. Now, everybody in a neighborhood like this knows we're the man. We're obviously the heat.
That's me, man.
And it doesn't take long for another young man from the neighborhood to blow Jack's cover once and for all.
Hey, Jack. Hey, don't worry, man. We'll bond you out.
Sorry, Jack.
That's a very satisfying moment at the time. I know who I'm talking to, and I have a whole new charge to lay on top of him: criminal impersonation and possession of a forged document. I've got my hooks in. Come on. Here we go.
At the police station, Kenda sits down with Jack Juarez, who is visibly panicked.
I'm dead. I'm a dead man.
Why would you say that?
You guys don't understand. You're gonna come after me and kill me.
Because he is now considered to be a snitch, a police informant. Now he thinks his life is over.
But you understand, if you help us out, we can help you out.
Okay.
So who are these guys you said shot Sheridan Pittman?
Saul and Manuel.
He only knows them by their first names, Saul and Manuel. That'll be fine for right now. He says on the night of the murder, they go to a strip club in the area of Bettery Drive. So he finds out the next day that Saul and Manuel got into some kind of a dispute inside the club with some other guys.
Hell no, dude. I want to shoot that son of a...
Let's go back. And the Collins boys that are in this bar? No, they're busy taking their friend Mays to St. Francis Hospital. There's no reason to believe that Sheridan knows these guys. We are likely dealing with a stranger upon stranger event, which are the worst kind.
Kenda now wonders if Manuel and Saul went out looking for the guys they clashed with at the strip club and ended up shooting at Sheridan and Nick Collins instead.
At the time of the shooting, we know our guys are out walking around, that they just happened to cross paths.
You know what caliber of the guns they carry?
9mm and a 40.
That's what was used. They have the right guns. His stock has just risen.
What else can you tell me about these guys?
A friend of ours owns an auto body shop.
Yeah?
He says Manuel and Saul had this light-colored car, but they really, really wanted to get it painted right away. And they asked this guy to do it. They got the right guns, they got a light-colored car, and they needed painted right away.
Why would they need it painted right away?
Now, why do they want it painted right away? To conceal it. To make it not like the car that was used in this crime.
We're able to identify the owner, operator of the body shop, Frank Lobato.
Now we are cooking. We know their first names. And we also know another guy that has recently had contact and done business with him, Mr. Lobato. We've got the first names, Saul and Manuel. We know they have the right guns. And we also know they're trying to conceal their involvement by painting the car a different color. These are going to be the dudes. So we go to Lobato's trim and detail shop, and we find Mr. Frank Lobato, the owner.
Mr. Lobato?
Hey.
I'm Lieutenant Kenneth, Detective Ritz. We understand two guys named Saul and Manuel approached you recently about having their car painted.
Yeah, Sal Gutierrez and Manuel Gutan want it done right away. I figure it's none of my business.
Did you paint it?
No, not yet. I got tail lights and a bumper over here and colors over there.
Mind if we take a look?
Go ahead.
So we walk over and look.
Is this the right one?
It is.
One of the things that everyone reported from the scene was the car involved had a broken taillight.
And the right taillight.
Description.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lovato. I'd hold off on painting that car.
Okay.
Finally, they've got something.
After speaking with Frank Lobato, Kenda orders a background check on Saul Gutierrez and Manuel Gatan.
Got a couple career boys for you.
And discovers they both have lengthy rap sheets.
We find that both have an extensive criminal record to include crimes of violence. And both have some affiliation with gangs.
These are the guys. This is the car. They had the right guns. Time to arrest these people.
While Kenda waits for the warrants on the two men to be processed, he dispatches a surveillance team to monitor the house where Gatan and Gutierrez reside.
Dispatch to 411.
411, go ahead.
Please be advised the warrant is active.
10-4. It's a nod. We gotta go. You ready? Ready.
Saul Gutierrez, put your hands up right over here. Step up, put your hands up. Where's Manuel? Right here. Manuel Gatan, come on out. Put your hands up right here.
These guys have been arrested many times. And they, of course, immediately invoked their rights.
You have the right to remain silent.
Yeah, we ain't saying nothing.
You cannot afford an attorney who will be appointed to you by the courts. Do you understand these rights I've just explained to you?
They're not going to respond to police questions.
Yes or no?
I want a lawyer.
But even without a formal statement from either Saul or Manuel, Kenda believes he can get to the bottom of what happened. He reaches back out to the crime's sole eyewitness, Nick Collins.
Nick, you and I both know you haven't been truthful with me.
He said, you know, Nick, you're starting to annoy me. We've talked to you several times. You have not been truthful with us, and I know it, and so do you.
You owe it to Sheridan to tell the truth. He gave his life. Tell me what really happened.
All right, man. He reacted emotionally to that statement. He said, all right, I'll tell you what really happened. Perfect.
Nick explains that he wasn't 100% truthful in his initial statement because he was scared he and Sheridan might get in trouble for being in possession of their pal Antoine May's handgun.
Like I told you before, Sheridan and I were just walking to his girlfriend's. His car rolled up on us. So we thought we knew him. Knew it. The car stopped. It sounded like some dude was like he was getting ready to shoot.
He hears what he believes to be somebody jacking the slide on a handgun.
There's a 22-pound recoil spring in most automatic pistols. It is a distinctive metal-on-metal sound. If you hear it once, you'll never forget what it is.
What'd you do?
Started running. Yo, run! And I thought shit knew what was going on, man. But he didn't.
I'm sorry about your friend.
Now that Kenda has Nick's full story, he believes he can piece together why Saul and Manuel may have targeted him and Sheridan.
Bro, what's up with Nina, man?
Nick and Sheridan are walking to see Nina, his girlfriend. At this same moment in time, Saul Gutierrez and Manuel Gaitan have left a strip club after a disturbance, went home, armed themselves with two handguns, and now they're driving around the area looking for these guys they had this problem with.
Yeah, bro, marry the kid, bro.
What's up?
They're looking them over to see if they're the guys.
What's up? What's up?
Now, Nick is not a criminal. What's up is a challenge in the gang world. say what's up and you hold your palms out openly, it is a direct challenge. I am challenging your presence on my turf.
Saul and Manuel, that means the fight is on.
They get out of the cars, rack their pistols. Sheridan Pittman doesn't know what an operating slide sounds like. What? The next thing he hears are bullets. The bullet that hits him goes through both lungs, his heart hits a rib, turns, and cuts his spinal cord. He is literally dead before he hits the ground.
At pre-trial hearings, both Saul and Manuel claim they fired at Nick and Sheridan purely out of self-defense. But as the writing on the wall becomes clear, Saul Gutierrez opts for a plea deal and receives a 10-year sentence for second-degree murder. Manuel Gatan decides to take his chances at trial, and this time, a jury of his peers accepts the self-defense claim.
Manuel Gatan was found not guilty.
So we've got a dead kid, one guy who pled and served. This was one of the most frustrating and bizarre outcomes I've ever seen. I just don't think justice was served on any side.
At the end of the day, you have a star athlete with a promising career in front of him, who never got to enjoy it. We have some degree of payment for it, but very little. And in one case, no payment whatsoever. So it's a frustration that is common with this business. Sometimes it works out very well to a satisfying conclusion, and sometimes it doesn't. This one's one of the dozens.
A late-night brawl rapidly escalates.
Stuff starts to sort of stir and get crazier.
Back up, man! Back up!
Young blood runs hot when the alcohol begins to flow.
Restoring law and order falls to a rookie cop with just 1 year on the force.
Of course you're afraid. You move through your fear and do your job.
Anytime you pull up into a fight situation, there is danger.
I am enraged. I am scared to death. I was ready to meet all challenges.
But will Officer Kenda's desire for justice bring him face to face with death?
I can hear the bullets hitting the asphalt around my head. You can never anticipate the danger of police work. You cannot. You're facing someone who wants to kill you. I made certain I always said I love you to my wife, because it may have been the last time I saw her. That's the nature of the work. There's one thing that never changes. Murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
It's a slow night at the True North Motel in Colorado Springs. Clerk Hank Blackburn is manning the front desk and wrestling with boredom.
It was late, and he was trying to stay awake, so he was trying to watch TV.
Hank's office is stuffy. He goes to the window. Outside, there's a crowd of bar patrons hanging out on the street.
It was last call, so voices are getting louder. Obviously, people have been drinking.
It's not unusual during the overnight shift.
Damn it! He's having a problem with his television. It's flickering. He starts to fiddle with it, trying to get the cloudiness cleared up.
He sees a guy who's waving a gun around. Then he sees a police officer step toward this guy.
And all of a sudden, gunfire erupts. Hank ducks down, trying to find a phone so he can dial 911.
what's your emergency?
Yeah, someone's got a gun, and I think he just shot a cop.
Arms.
Joe, talk to me. Are you hit?
He's trying to see if he feels blood or if there's a pulse. What's going on?
Talk to me.
March 6, 1973. 26-year-old Joseph P. Kenda is reporting to his first day on the job at the Colorado Springs Police Department.
I really didn't know what I was getting into. I thought I knew. I thought this was going to be the opportunity of a lifetime. I was a little bit frightened. And I was excited. I did a lot of research about police departments and how they operate and all that, but research isn't the same as reality. I grew up in a coal mining town 30 miles east of Pittsburgh. I met Kathy in high school. We started a family. I had 2 different jobs, the last of which was the family business, which was a disaster.
The story about us moving across country started because he was working and not making enough money. He was gone during the day, he was gone at night. I finally had enough, and I said, you need to find another job. He said he always wanted to be a cop.
After applying to 3 different police departments,
Hello? Joe?
Kenda finally received the call he'd been waiting for.
Hello, this is Joe Kenda.
Who knew this would be the first call of thousands more to come?
Mr. Kenda?
Yes?
Welcome to the Colorado Springs Police Department.
I was dropped the phone.
Okay, bye. It's like a moving to Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs was where his mother was born and raised. So every summer they would come back to visit the grandparents. This was the great place to be.
I rented a U-Haul trailer and put our meager possessions in it, and then we decided to take Greeley's advice and go west, young man.
2 weeks later, the starry-eyed new recruit is eager to start field training.
I am wearing this brand new, shiny police uniform with a brand new pistol on my side and a nightstick and all the various toys.
Hello.
Hey, having a good day?
For now.
Good.
Hey, you're up. Come on. Go to work.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Have a good day.
And everybody obviously recognized me as a rookie.
Who are you?
Joseph P. Kenda. I'm here to report for training.
Let me see who they put you with. Okay, looks like you're going to be with Larry 6.
And where can I find him?
Just go sit over there and wait on him. He'll be here in a minute. You can't miss him. Good luck. You're going to need it.
Thank you.
And I thought, what?
Sorry, sir.
Rookies are invisible. No one knows what you're capable of. No one knows if you are willing and able to engage. No one knows if you're willing to help save their life. They don't know you, and they don't want to know you. My heart is going like a trip hammer under that uniform shirt. And I was thinking to myself, what have you done?
A few minutes later, a bull of a man appears and approaches Kenda.
Hello, sir. I'm Joe Kenda.
He didn't say hello. He didn't say his name. And I thought, this is going to be a very long day.
And it's only the beginning. Over the next several hours, Kenda shadows Officer Bix, learning the basics of police work.
You work alongside a veteran police officer. So, generally you're paired in a car and you're answering the same calls for service.
You would learn by watching and listening and doing what the real policeman in your car told you to do.
Hey, let's get a few things straight.
Yes, sir.
Rule number 1, don't ever touch that freaking radio.
I wasn't planning on it, sir.
Rule number 2, I control everything. Got it?
Yes, sir. At some point it shifts. You become the person who handles the call
until your training officer feels you're ready, and then you're tossed into the deep end of the pool.
things can happen in an instant. You have no idea who somebody is that's in a car that you just stopped for a minor traffic violation. You don't know if he's a Catholic priest on his way to church or if he's a convicted murderer who has escaped from a prison in California.
See your license registration?
One thing is clear. He certainly knows who you are. You are the police.
As the two men patrol the South Side route, Officer Bix breaks down the ins and outs of shift work.
There are 3 8-hour shifts in police work. Every 28 days, the shift rotates.
1 month would be midnight to 8, next month would be 4 to midnight, then the next month it was 8 to 4. You rotated backwards.
You just described to me what exactly was taken.
There was quite a difference between day shift.
A couple $100 gone. Okay, so...
And what we refer to as cold calls during the daytime. Something that happened that was discovered in the morning. There were some burglary calls, a lot of vandalism calls. 4 to midnight shift would begin to pick up auto accidents, collisions, and so forth during rush hour.
Stay away from my girlfriend! Yeah, I got 2 fighting in the alley. I'm gonna break them up.
Then the midnight to 8 shift, you're pretty busy until around 3 o'clock. The bars fill up. You'll begin to get some disturbance calls, fight calls.
Hey, that's enough. That's enough. Get up. Get up. Get up.
When you are a patrol officer, you are the first responder. You are required, perhaps, to force entry, to stop the bleeding and start the breathing, to defend the wounded, to search for suspects, to avoid getting shot, stabbed, or otherwise run over. You have no idea what you're getting into.
There's not much time to consider the facts. You have to move in quickly, restore order as quickly as you can.
Yes, sir. Part of the excitement of patrol and police work in general, it's never the same. We're about to witness the greatest show on earth. Humanity.
But after 2 hours on the job, Kenda's still waiting for that show to start.
All right, rookie, why are you here?
I don't know. It's the only place I ever wanted to be.
Got big dreams about being a police officer, huh?
I wanted to do something with my life that I could control, not be controlled by someone else. I wanted to rise or fall on my own ability, pursue the bad people on behalf of society. That's why, but I didn't really know that yet.
3 hours into Kenda's first shift,
Dispatch to 326.
the radio finally crackles to life.
326, what's the problem?
Got a call from a resident over on Flat. Female is complaining that she smells gas in her home.
10-4, 326 en route.
15 minutes later, Kenda and Bix find themselves inspecting a kitchen stove.
It's just a leak, ma'am. Your house will be fine, but you need to call the gas company to get it fixed right now.
This wasn't exactly what I had in mind. Responding to a problematic stove didn't strike me as exciting cop work.
In the meantime, keep your windows open. Make sure there's fresh air blowing in and out.
You wonder why people call the police for a leaking stove and not the right people?
Thank you, officer.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Because the police will come 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Do you get a lot of calls like this, sir?
We're on the day side, kid. We can't throw you out on the front line first day on the job. You're too green. You gotta understand, you're not ready for the night shift yet.
Seems an awful lot like community service.
Just you wait, rookie. Just you wait.
But at 2 p.m., the second call comes in.
Car 326, come in.
Will it offer up the action he's been hoping for?
Go for 326.
We have a call from a woman screaming. Sounds like a domestic disturbance. It's been traced to 511 Racine Road.
Crap. What is it? I've been to this address before.
You'd get kind of excited about it. Like, how are we going to approach this? What are we going to do?
Okay, rookie, look. This is a hot call. I need you to watch my back.
Yes, sir.
Don't screw this up.
Okay, sir.
You're stepping into somebody's personal life at the highest moment of emotion. They are angry with each other, but they can turn and become angry at you. And I'm about to learn it's the most dangerous call you can get. 1973, my first year in law enforcement, and my first day on the job. I'm in field training with Training Officer Larry Bix, and we just got our first call of distress. A domestic disturbance?
Ma'am.
And I'm about to learn it's the most dangerous call you can get.
Can you tell me what's happened, ma'am?
My husband's crazy.
Was it your husband that's done this to your face?
Yes.
The most common 4 words you hear when you arrive from a female caller, I want him arrested.
Can you tell me where he is?
He's inside.
Stay with her. Radio for medical assistance.
Yes, sir.
I'll call you if I need you.
She's been beaten. Her eye is swollen. Her face is bruised. There's blood dried on her lips.
Ma'am, the ambulance will be here soon. Just wait here with me, okay?
Kenda!
Wait here.
All day, Kenda's been itching to see some action. Until the ugly reality kicks in.
That knot comes into your stomach instantly. It's frightening. It is an adrenaline boost. If anybody ever tells you that they're not afraid, they're either lying or they're insane. Of course you're afraid. I was afraid all the time.
Can you pin his arm?
You move through your fear and do your job. Is that heroic? No, it's not. It's the most overused word in the English language. You have a job to do. You're being paid to do it.
That was amazing.
Calm down, Johnny Law. You think this is fun?
Yes, sir. No, sir. Not at all.
After a month on the job, Kenda has learned the ropes of the daytime beat. It's time for him and Officer Bix to rotate to the night shift.
Yeah, this stuff isn't any problem.
Rookie, I know you think you got a handle on this cop work. The night shift's a different world.
I hear you, Bix. I get it.
Do you? Because cocky guys on the night shift, they're holding body bags.
How many times are you going to tell me?
Just keep your mouth shut and listen to me, will you?
Kenda and Bix grab some chow and coffee to help power through until dawn.
Your body says, let's go to bed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. What are we doing out here? You've got to remain hydrated. You have to remain fed.
What's up, guys?
There was a particular greasy spoon on 8th Street, and the cops and the cab drivers and all the other night crawlers that are out there in the middle of the night.
I'll have the number 1 and coffee, please.
Number 2, extra.
After putting in their order, the 2 men sit back and relax.
Crispy bacon.
Oh, wait, my water. Your water's over there.
Or at least they try to.
Knock it off, guys. I can get more.
You think you can push me around? You want some of this? Hey, this is establishment. You need to calm down.
One of the officers at the other table walked over to try to calm this guy down.
Calm down. You gonna take his side? I'm telling you to be quiet in here.
And that was a big mistake.
He's an establishment.
And he's choking him to where the officer is almost unconscious and he's as blue as his shirt. He's killing him. I am enraged. I am scared to death. I'm all those emotions all wrapped into one. What I didn't see was a stainless steel cream dispenser on the counter, and I flattened it with his face.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I mean, I had to.
Of course you did. You're reaching for a night. Good job.
Nice job, kid. We owe you one.
Get your ass up. You're under arrest.
As dawn rolls around, the brass at headquarters get word that a rookie cop has just saved a veteran's life.
Officer Kenda reporting, sir.
Officer Kenda, just relax. Officer Bix here has been telling me what happened last night.
The captain of the patrol division was delighted that I could obviously handle myself.
I believe I am ready, sir.
And deciding I had been sufficiently trained.
We're going to go ahead and arrange that for tomorrow, and you'll be out on your own tomorrow afternoon.
He awarded me my own police car the next day.
I expect good things from you.
Thank you, sir.
It's great working with you, Biggs.
Yeah. You'll do all right out there, kid.
Thank you again, sir. I won't let you down.
Better not.
Kenda is happy to be done with training, but he also understands what it means to be out on patrol alone. And before long, Kenda will learn firsthand just how dangerous police work can truly be.
Back up! I need back up!
By this time, October of '74, I've been on patrol for about a year. I've learned some of the ropes, and I've caught my fair share of suspects up to this point. But I'm about to get in big trouble.
He was a little standoffish, but he was well respected by his peers and by the department supervisor. He was a good cop.
Joe is an individual who can communicate much better than most other individuals. He was a very intelligent guy. I mean, he was meticulous in the way that he went about his job.
One balmy October evening, Kenda is eating dinner with his wife and children before starting the night shift.
We had different meals for whichever shift he was working. If he was going to be home, then I would cook the typical dinner. Roast, spaghetti, pork chops, vegetables.
Make sure you try your carrots also, buddy. It'll help you see better at night. Is baby feeling any better?
Took a whole bottle earlier today, so.
And hopefully she'll sleep for you.
I hope so.
About that time.
When he was not going to be there, then we had kid dinners. Mac and cheese, fish sticks, SpaghettiOs, things that they liked.
Daddy, where are you going tonight? Daddy has to go to work, honey.
It was hard sometimes, seeing my little ones and knowing that maybe after I walk out that door, I'd never see them again. But that's the risk of the job.
You have to go catch the bad guys, right, Dad?
That's right, pal.
It was Dad's job.
Take it a hug.
To them, it was perfectly normal.
Hey, be good for your mom, okay?
Okay.
There to go.
If I worried about every time he went out the door, I would not have made it. We would have been divorced. You can't worry about that kind of stuff. You have to keep continuing on with your life.
And while Kathy does her best to shut out the danger, her husband relishes it.
It's addictive. It was for me. It was an adrenaline rush. The more trouble there was, the more I liked it. And I found that when things were at their worst, I was at my best.
After a year on patrol, Kenda has developed crucial relationships with several people who roam the streets on his beat.
Hey, Billy.
Well. If it ain't the best police officer in town.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
He had the biggest cowboy hat I've ever seen in my life. It was 3 sizes too big. He lived under a bridge, and if he was awake, he was drunk, and I was his favorite person.
Can you give me a ride?
Have I ever said no? Hop in.
So you're the best.
These are the invisible people that society doesn't want to know who they are. I was their taxi cab, I was their friend, I was their contact. They know what's going on. They know who's got a gun. They know who's planning a crime. They listen to the jungle drums.
Let's talk about it.
That kind of information is incredibly useful because they're volunteering. You're not asking for it. They're just giving it to you because they like you.
Little does Kenda know, his quick trip across town will be one that would nearly cost him his life.
All right. Thanks, Kenda.
Thank you, Billy. Until next time.
All right.
Oh, I see this guy. He's in my headlights. He's standing in the street with a hubcap.
What's he doing with it? I don't know, but we'll find out. All right, later, cowboy.
Kenda follows the man down South Boulevard, keeping his siren off since the man hasn't done anything wrong yet.
I look in that parking lot, there are people in a rolling fist fight. When they also all begins to flow, that's when things get active. This guy's throwing a hubcap like a discus. It has an edge, it has teeth. He's using them as weapons.
553 to dispatch.
We have a large fight in a parking lot at 2200 East Platt Street. Any additional units, please?
Now, at that time, no radio to take with you. That radio is in the car. You shut that car off and pull the keys. Your communication capabilities have just ended.
And without bulletproof vests, all physical protection is lost as well.
So you are literally on your own.
10553 out.
You are the police department's one and only.
Break it up! Break it up!
Most of it works because they look at me and they see the uniform.
Drop it now!
Determined to bring the situation under control.
Drop it now!
Before someone gets seriously injured.
Put your hands in your head and turn around!
I hear sirens in the distance, but I'm still by myself in this part of it. And I had no idea the level of danger I was putting myself in at the time.
But the situation goes from bad to worse.
Back up! I need back up!
This guy, he's got his arm around a girl's neck.
Back off, man!
I had never confronted anybody with a gun in their hand before. Who was holding a hostage. What do you do?
Hey! Hey, you cop! Let him go!
I think I should shoot him, but I don't have a clear shot.
Hey!
You can see an inch and a half of him in the dark, 40 feet away with a handgun. You're gonna kill this girl.
While Kenda may not have a clear shot, the gunman is more than willing to pull the trigger.
The muzzle flash appears to be 10 yards in diameter, which of course is ridiculous. This is a little tiny gun, but not when it's shooting at you. It's not tiny, it is huge.
Kenda feels a jolt of pain and then numbness.
And I can hear the bullets hitting the asphalt around my head. I believed I was going to die. And I hear doors slamming.
Where's the officer?
And people come up. My first thought is, where am I shot?
No.
I believed I'd never see my kids again. I believed I'd never see my wife again. I thought, this is it. Been a policeman for a few months and I'm dead in this parking lot.
Fight in a parking lot at
Officer Joe Kenda is in the middle of the most harrowing moment of his fledgling career as a police officer. A gun-wielding madman has just opened fire on him. Not once, but 7 times.
The officers responding believed that I had been shot. He put his arm over me to protect me from the crowd.
How'd you hit? What did you hit, Joe?
And he said, where are you hit? And I said, I don't know.
I feel numb.
I can't feel any pain.
Is that thankfully all 7 shots missed him. And the numbness he felt was a combination of a rush of adrenaline and hitting the pavement in full force.
There was so much adrenaline in my system that like every muscle in my body was spasming. And my heart was in my throat. And it was over.
I think I'll be okay. Where is he?
After I get over the fear,
I'm gonna catch this guy in trouble in jail cell.
I am wild.
He made a run for it. Hey, are you guys okay? Yeah, we are okay. The suspect took off in that direction. You went that way? Now let's go get it.
Still seething, Kenda scans the crowd of people who were involved in the brawl.
At this moment, they are all active participants in a major bar fight.
Nobody leaves here till they talk to me. Does anybody hit the crossfire? Surprisingly, no.
How could he miss? Well, rather easily. With a small handgun in the dark, 40 feet away, he's a terrible shot. Thank God.
Officer Smith is gonna take your guy who was throwing the hubcaps down to the station. You need to stay to talk to Homicide. They're in their way. Homicide? Yeah, Homicide.
When a police officer is a victim of an attempted murder, particularly involving gunfire, they consider that to be very serious. If you'll shoot a uniformed policeman, you'll shoot anybody.
All right, but I'm going to take as many people as I can.
But Patrol officers establish the crime scene parameters. They identify the victims. They identify the witnesses. They protect and preserve evidence. And when detectives arrive, Patrol hands it off.
Kenda hasn't interviewed many eyewitnesses in his short career, but he's already discovered a knack for it.
You okay, ma'am?
Yeah, I think so.
I know it's been difficult. Do you mind if I ask a few questions?
Sure.
Joe had the ability to talk to anybody at their individual level and make them feel comfortable.
What's your name?
Serena,
How old are you?
22.
When you can do that as a police officer, you get a lot of information, and it's ultimately going to help you in the future.
You kind of how the fight started?
Yeah, well, my sister and I, we were in the bar the whole night. It was just a normal night. And then these two guys just started arguing. So my sister and I ran outside, and then the fight ended up moving outside. And then that's when the guy grabbed me.
Back up! She doesn't know the guy with a gun, but she remembers that he grabbed her while he was confronting another guy, and he called him Nick.
Kenda's interview was short.
Joe, come here. You need to stop. What do you mean? You're the victim. You cannot investigate your own crime scene. You're going to need to talk to the detectives when they get here and give them a full statement. I barely saw anything. All I know was a white guy. That's what you're going to tell them.
They keep telling I'm a victim. What, a victim of a policeman? What the hell are you talking about? I can't be part of this. That was so difficult for me.
Only minutes later, an unmarked cruiser arrives, and two homicide detectives take over the scene.
Now, I'm in a position for the first time in my short tenure on the police department to be standing there not doing anything while everybody else is busy, and I see the detectives wearing sport coats and ties. And I knew that's what I wanted.
Which one's Kenda?
Officer Kenda?
Yes, sir.
I'm Detective Brian. I heard what you did in that diner last year. Took down, what was it, like 5 guys?
I was actually only one, but, don't believe you here.
You want to tell me what went on here tonight?
Yeah, I followed a guy that was throwing hubcaps into the crowd right here in this lot. When I entered the scene, I saw a girl being held hostage and a guy with a gun. Can't really tell you much more about the guy, though.
I'm sorry, but I saw little or nothing of him. And they said, well, we're not surprised. It is very, very difficult to have a clear memory of a traumatic event.
People here did hear him being called Nick, if that's any help.
Every little bit helps. It's all part of one big puzzle. If we put this puzzle together, we have that guy that tried to kill you locked up in no time.
Appreciate it, sir.
I was attracted to that line of work because you had to be able to think. You had to be able to analyze how people behave. I don't understand people, but they interest me. And that fascinated me.
It's a profound realization for Officer Kenda. One that will set the tone for the rest of his career. But right now, a madman is still on the loose.
Hear that? Yeah, we hear gunshots in the distance.
You, come with me.
We have an active shooter out here somewhere. Is he not afraid of? I'm a helpless cop at the moment because I cannot participate in this investigation. I survived the shooting. I'm alive. The shooter, Nick, is really dangerous. We need to get him off the street. Now we hear shots in the distance. Radio screaming, and we're hopeful that we have cornered him somehow.
But Kenda won't get a chance to help take down the man who almost killed him. As the victim in the case, he must stay behind, while other CSPD officers chase down the perp, known only as Nick.
I really wanted to violate every policy that go with these guys and at least witness his arrest. But I know better, so I stood there with my thumb in my ear.
We need to get over there and get this bastard.
Did it sound like he got hit?
I don't know, but he took a shot at one of our guys, so we need to be careful.
A few minutes later, one of Kenda's fellow patrol officers spots the gunman and charges after him.
Stop, police! Stop, police!
Is he in there?
Yeah, well, I saw him go in there. He locked himself in. You want us to go in after him?
We're gonna have to.
If Nick is inside with the gun, this team of cops is about to get shot at. Crime scene. An anxious Kenda prepares to head back to the station.
Why so glum, kid? You're alive.
You're here too, huh, Bix?
I got the call. Heard it was you. Thought you might have got hit. Looks like you're gonna be okay.
I wanted to be able to say to myself that I had brought this to a conclusion and that I had imprisoned someone who needed to be imprisoned.
The guy almost killed you. Besides, you got one caller tonight already. Why don't you leave some for the rest of us?
5 a.m. Though his superiors tell him it can wait another day, he immediately begins writing his arrest report.
I wanted to establish that record that I was thorough, I was bright, I could express myself in writing. It is a critical step in getting selected for investigations.
Around 9 a.m., an exhausted Kenda clocks out and heads home from the shift that nearly claimed his life.
I remember that day. I said, "What happened?" And he said, "Oh, it was a bad day at work. It was a shootout." And you think, "Oh, crap."
When Kenda reports for work the following evening, he assumes his fellow officers have the shooter, Nick, in custody.
Yes, sir.
But he's in for a surprise.
I understand. What can I do for you, kid?
Was there any luck with the guy that shot at me, sir?
I can't tell you much, kid, but all I can say is we haven't got him yet.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For the next 3 months, CSPD tries in vain to bring Kenda's attacker into custody.
This incident alone certainly fueled that desire. I wanted to be a detective because now I want to be part of the resolution. I'm tired of being part of the initiation. What about the resolution?
Finally, in January of 1975, investigators operating on a tip from an informant track the shooter, Nick, to an apartment on the east side of town. And he is apprehended without incident.
Hey, Joe, look, it's the guy that shot at you.
Really?
His name is Nick Garner.
He looked dangerous. He looked kind of scared. And he's the guy that tried to kill me, tried to take my life, tried to prevent me from ever seeing my wife and kids ever again. And yet he looks like a little drip.
Sergeant Adam.
Detective Brown was able to dig up a few witnesses. He got the address of some relative's house where he was hiding out.
Nice.
When they finally did arrest him, I did feel good about it. People like that need to be in a cage, not just because they wanted to hurt me, because they wanted to hurt all of us.
Nick Garner is convicted of 1 count of felony menacing.
He went to prison for it, for a very long time. That was gratifying to me.
Over the next 23 years, Kenda makes his way up the ranks at CSPD. From patrol to detective, sergeant, then lieutenant, before finally landing a post as commander in the Major Crimes Division. But looking back, he realizes it was the incident on that October night back in 1974.
Active. He knew that he had to start at the bottom and start working his way up. His goal was to catch the murderers. That was the number one goal.
Joe was always one that did thrive on being on the front line and being where the action was. It's almost like being an adrenaline junkie.
I wanted to participate in something that would pit my mind against someone else's mind. The ultimate test. Are my instincts good enough to find people responsible for horrible things? I could have been a number. One of the officers killed in the line of duty. I survived. I believed I survived for a reason. I had work to do.